Welcome everybody to the Marketing Roundtable. Good to see you on if you're hitting up on the replay, and fantastic to have the live audience here so we can get some fantastic questions. Today we're going to be talking about how to set up, grow, and scale essentially a Facebook group, and why. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to unleash the power of Facebook and rock and roll in that area? And then afterwards, we're going to talk about questions. We're going to think about maybe what type of group would you set up if you were going to set one up. There will be a little bit of drawing and a bit of scribbling around. So I'm just frantically, as I'm saying that, making sure that I've got my pen. I probably do. So when we do that bit, I'll have to find it and do you a bit of a demo. So examples of why Facebook groups are really important. This is kind of a slide that we found sort of a pre-pandemic, and it's slid even further from here. This is your Facebook organic reach for your page, your business page. So if you've got a page and you've been, using it to send out posts about your company and about what you do, your services, etc., that's where the reach goes down. And so for a long time, we've talked about, well, actually, if you want to interact with people on Facebook, then you need to work as your profile, because you people by people, it is your personal profile. You can add friends, you can interact, you can go and prospect. That's part of the Facebook organic strategy that we share in one of these sessions. If you haven't seen that, you can catch up on our YouTube channel. But the Facebook group supersizes that organic reach, and you can therefore still interact as a page within a Facebook group that you own. And people that join that group are basically opting in to have a conversation with you. And so therefore your group reaches a lot further. There's a nice example from a blogger of Moz. SEOmoz is a fantastic site, really kind of niche website for people looking at search engine optimization. They did a really nice little test here. Really simple test, really. Someone had 660 likes and 660 members. So they used that as the trigger point to be able to actually run this test. They used a URL, specific URL, tracking URL, and created this this is a screenshot you can see below from their Google Analytics profile. And that screenshot shows where they are in terms of the group reach and the page reach on a link that they shared. And you can see 122 visits versus 8 visits, 15 times the traffic coming from a Facebook group just for a standard post versus a Facebook page post, right? So that's obviously specific for that person, but it rings true in everything that we see in all the tests that we see for our clients. The reach within a group is significantly more, because that's just how Facebook are optimizing. Facebook had this maison d'etre a while ago about actually being a community-focused platform and really helping communities, and hence why groups are really important. You see it all the time. You see people have their own, Facebook groups for their village or their local sports team or a number of other things, and that really becomes the epicenter of a community, and Facebook wants to own that epicenter, wants to own that conversation, because of course their share price tracks the amount of monthly views, and of course if people are spending time on their platform, advertisers can then send ads to them. How do they make their money? Through advertisers, right? So Facebook wants you to linger, and communities and groups are the best way it's been able to help you to do that. So it rewards group owners, it rewards traffic from it. Cool. So you can see why it's a win-win-win-win-win for everybody. That's why groups get this significant advantage. Okay, but it's not really a surprise, for those reasons. So what should you call it, and how should you work, or how should it work? So as I say, I'm going to sketch out these ideas in a second, but in terms of what you should call it, we always think, well, what is the purpose? Why do you want to get people into the group? What is the reason for you doing it? Now, if it's lead generation, for example, you are a PT, a fitness person who's helping men over 40 be able to lose weight, well, then call it that. Call it, the over 40s weight losers club, or whatever it is. If you are someone that's being able to help people to grow their business, call it the business growth community. If you are going niche, which is really good for groups, because birds of a feather like to fly together, you might say that this is the marketing agency's lead generation group. So it's just for people that are marketing agencies and lead generation, and so therefore people will go into that group because they feel it is niche. Always name it after the result that people are going to get by joining the group. That means everybody kind of knows. These fancy group names where people don't really know what they're all about, unless you're really personality driven and people are coming for you specifically, then the group name itself needs to do a lot of the work. And so that name needs to tell me exactly kind of, it's like the Rotzel moment. It's kind of, it needs to do exactly what it says on the tin. So if you help people to save money on their household bills, then it's the household bill savers group, right? And so that's why people will join the group. So you can see why the name would be it. Now, how does it work? Well, let me go. And I just realized that Microsoft Whiteboard will always give me a couple of minutes just to load it up because it's slow. People are going to say because it's Microsoft. But let me just jump out of this and try and get this blooming thing to work. Whilst I do a little drawing for you. Crashing my system. Lawrence, you're loving this. I can see you laughing away there. So right, let me just clear this one. Here's one I made earlier. So Facebook groups. This is the strategy. And what I'm going to do is just going to give you an overarching strategy of why this is important and how it works. We've already seen that the opportunity is there, right? But if we go and look here and we go, right, okay, we're going to try and find this group of people that are, let's take Laura's example. We're finding home money savers, right? So we want to go and create a group of people that are money savers. Lawrence sells services that help people save money on their household bills. And so therefore, if he can find a community of people that are interested in saving money on their household bills, therefore he could sell his services to them in a classy way, i.e. giving information first, making them feel seen, wanted, helped. You know, you give first before you ever want anything in return. And so therefore, you know, when he comes up with a deal to say, oh, and by the way, you might be able to save money on X, Y, and Z, then they're going to be coming from a position of trust to say, thank you for all this great information you've been giving me, Lawrence. I, yes, would like to go and take that service because I trust you, right? So this is why Facebook groups can work. And it works really well for expert businesses, people that use thought leadership to sell their services, right? Usually you guys. So you go collect these people, you say, hey, come and join our group. Here's the group in here, right? So this is our money saving group. On the way into the group, you can ask 3 questions. And those 3 questions, Facebook allow you to ask. And so they could be simply things like, you know, are you interested in money saving, right? So that could be niche specific. Another one could be, would you like my free book on how to save money on your household bills, right? So this is then email. You get their email. So if yes, leave your email below. Now we've created the lead. So we know actually, one, by them answering question number 1, yes, they are confirming they're your target audience. Great. So that's great. We know we've got the right people. And then by answering the email question number 2, we've now created the lead because they've given their email address. And then question number 3, you then go do what we call a temperature check. Would you like, yes or no, for us to contact you about saving further money on your household bills, right? And if they answer no, it doesn't mean you don't let them into the group. It just means that it's not yet. And if they answer yes, great. You've just mean that that's hot. So these are hot leads. So it's temperature check, lead. So you lead create. So niche confirmation, create the lead, temperature check. How awesome is that? That's before they even join the group, right? Then they join your group. So you press a button, join the group. I'm going to show you all this can be automated soon as well, right? How that's going to be wicked. Day 1, what you do is you tag them in to their welcome post, right? I'll show you one of those in a minute. So a welcome post is basically you saying, hey, this group is about cool people doing cool stuff. And if you want some value, I'm going to tag you into a post tomorrow with a copy of some more value, right? So day 1 kind of sets the tone, gives you a bit of the story, gets them to get a feel for that. Then you work on a day 2 post within the group, right? And that day 2 post is basically the value. You say, hey, this is our value. And you can say, here's a webinar link so you can understand how to save money or how to grow your business or whatever it is, right? On day 2. Now, the beauty of that is that you've gone and sort of welcomed them in and again, delivered more value. I'm going to link all this up in a bit. And then day 3, which is the final bit of this sequence, you're going to then send them a DM, right? And that's a personal DM just saying, hi, you know, how's things, you know, how did you get on with this? Have you liked this? Signpost them to something else, right? And so when you link all this up as a marketer, what can happen is that this email can automatically go into your email system. So say you're using like a MailerLite, MailChimp, whatever it is, and create an autoresponder that then sends them an email to say, hey, here's the ebook. Oh, and why, by the way, we do, this weekly moment. We talk about for a while, a lot of time people should be working some sort of weekly moment. Maybe they've got a podcast, maybe they've got a YouTube channel, maybe they do an event like this. And so therefore now you link them into the weekly moment. We talk about awareness, consider, convert. Well, this is awareness, they've come into your group. Consider is that they're actually reading the book and joining your weekly moment. Convert then is to then put them in to say, hey, why don't you come and jump on a discovery call with us, or do a strategy session about how we can help you save money, right? So the people that say yes, here, you can kind of progress straight into the discovery call. The people that say no, or anybody that gives this email address also goes on this funnel. And so you're warming up. So hopefully even the no's also say yes to the discovery call, right? So you start to, off that initial sequence, book in leads, booking calls, start to get sales conversations, right? Then day one, again, this is just a post. So this is an email automation that's come off that initial welcome. Then day one is a post that says, hey, here's value. This is what to expect. And then day two, hey, there's a webinar here. And of course, what happens on the webinar is that you also then link them to a web place where they can book the discovery call with you. Great, cool. And then day three, you're just saying hi and you're prospecting. And what I mean by prospecting is in a second, I'm going to show you an email sequence that again will lead them all the way to discovery call. And you can see how this all rows ends in that discovery call, because awareness, consider, convert. Convert is whatever it's called. You might have a strategy session, might have a discovery call, might have a matching session, whatever it is. But that thing is where it ends. Lead generation is done. Sales takes over. You then obviously convert them into selling your product or service. And if they're not happy with that, then they can keep on taking the free value in your group, because any good group should have a rhythm to it, similar to any sort of marketing. We talk about this all the time for your social media channel, but your group is no different. We talk about Mondays. We talk about Mondays. You should be thinking about things like engagement creators, so actually getting people to engage. Tuesdays, you should promote what happens on a Wednesday, which should be your weekly moment. And then on Thursday, you go, who wants the replay, to the weekly moment. And then on Friday, you can share a win or share some thought leadership. That's what a perfect week looks like. It doesn't matter if you're sending that on LinkedIn, doesn't matter doing it organically in your Facebook profile or inside your group. That's the heartbeat to your week. And your group should have that. And so when people are inside the group, they're still consuming this rhythm, but they're also able to, ask questions, engage more. You're getting better reach on it, right? So that's kind of how the organic strategy works. So every single week after that initial intro sequence I've just showed you, you're still able to get discovery calls or strategy sessions or whatever it is booked off the back of the rhythm that you're putting into those groups. Cool. So that's kind of the scribblings of the strategy. Let me just show you a little bit more meat on the bone. So when you're promoting the group, you think, well, actually, how do I get people into the group? Well, remember, we talked about it in the money saving group. So this is an example from Richard Cross, $1 million sprinter. And he did a group, or has a group about helping retailers. And so he's gone out and sent this message, and you can change this message however you want. But he's gone out to say, how are things? As a fellow retailer, I just want to invite you to our new boutique Facebook group. I have set up to help retailer accelerate out of lockdown into Christmas and beyond, right? Every week we'll go to host a complimentary group Zoom call to tackle problems, ask questions, and share successes, right? And example topics will be, and this is the interesting thing that I put in red. So example topics will be, and then he's got pillar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Essentially, what is your flagship product? What is your strategy? What do you coach when you do coaching, or what do you offer if you've done a done for you marketing thing, right? And so you may have some pillars, of foundations or some categories of how you work with people. Well, those example topics can become your topics for your weekly moments. And so those weekly moments are those every week I'll be hosting a complimentary Zoom call, right? So that they become the subjects of it. Now, of course, you can't teach the whole thing in a weekly 45-minute session. That's not what it's about, but you still know what your subjects are, what your specialist subjects are, because that's what you coach, right? So you give people a little taster every single week. And so you can tell them in this email, when you invite them into your group, that they're going to get those little bits of tasters, which again reaffirms what you're all about and why people should listen to you anyway in the first place. Get it? Cool. So then you give the link and they join the group, right? So you can do this across lots of channels. This is an example of an email, but this could be a DM on LinkedIn. This could be a DM on Facebook. This could be Instagram post. This could be content that you're putting out on live video that you're inviting people in, right? So multi-channel ask to say why people should join. Now, day 3 is when they're in. So you've welcomed them in, you've given them value, and then you're actually then starting to prospect them within a group, right? And so that might be when you show interest, and they're putting the hand up, and you say, great, you spark a conversation by simply asking them questions by a direct message. So you have the opportunity now to start to talk to people within groups. And ultimately guide them in to discovery calls. What that might look like is, this is just an example, a live example of the stuff that we would do. And we would say, hey, I saw you join the Facebook group. Welcome aboard. I also have a note here saying that you're looking to grow your business. So, what services do you offer your clients, right? And then let them ask on a DM. And then once they do, you get interesting. And do you offer them retainers, or do you have a flagship product, right? So this is us kind of working out, well, actually, how can we help? So this is further qualifying people on how we help. One of the things that we help people to do is stop selling lots of different things and sell one flagship product, because that helps you. That's the only thing you need to do to get to $1 million in revenue. And they answer and they go, da, da, da. I say, great. And then you can say, well, look, in a perfect world, where would you be 12 months from now? So now you're starting to think about talking about, look, where do you want to be in the future? Where are you now? Can we actually help you to go through those two places? They answer. And you say, awesome. You know what? It would be great to talk more. Would you have time for a quick 10-minute call just so I can learn more about your business and how we can help you achieve that 12-month growth goal, right? If they answer yes, then you can actually say, great, answer a couple of questions, give them your Calendly link, and then they book. Awesome. And then after they book, you can then follow them up with, in between now and then, here's some awesome content, with some more tips that you can jump on. And again, you're adding value, right? That's what this is all about. Just talking, having conversations, offering the ability for us to have more direct contact with people and putting it in. Now, the beauty of this can be completely delegated to someone to do on your behalf within the group. So again, you don't have to constantly be doing everything. You can start to work as a team for this, right? Quick tip, if you are doing this yourself, copy this conversation text into a note on your phone, because then you can basically do it as you go. We talk about hunting as you go, right? Having these conversations as you go, you can copy and paste them into these conversation feeds, right? Really quick tip for when you're doing it. Because anything you're doing here is about trying it, then nailing it, and then automating what you're doing and then delegating. We call that the TNAD methodology when we're doing where we're coaching our clients. So once you've tried this strategy and actually you're getting people coming in and booking strategy sessions with it, how do you automate this whole thing? And then how do you delegate it? Well, one of the ways you can automate it, you can see here, this is a members request, and there's a couple of people that requested this an hour ago, and I've just blocked out what their answers are. But when you see this, you start to find a private screen. This is your, when you've got members requests, 1 new today, 2 in total there. This is just a screenshot from this morning. So if you say approve and send message, this is actually a software that we use. I don't go into what softwares we do. We keep that for our clients. But in terms of approving it, we can press one button and all of this information, how their business is doing. Would you like to send us a free copy of the book? We help people to scale. Would you like details? Could be moved automatically into this sequencing, wherever I put it. And that one button triggers that entire sequence in just one click, and also tags them into the day one welcome post as well. So that entire sequence and tagging and the first DM from me automatically happens. So that's how it works perfectly. And then finally, delegate it. Then the continuation of those conversations and the tagging into day two can be delegated to someone in your team. The management of the posts in your group can be delegated. So therefore, the group starts to grow without you. That's the really exciting part. Let me just quickly show you those day one and day two posts. If you are interested in our day one and day two posts, then if you go into our Facebook group here, and I can just chuck it into the chat, you can see here, welcome to the group, hashtag welcome to the group there. And so these are the sort of posts that we put out. So this is the first post, which says, hey, welcome to the group. This is a bit more about us. Yeah, it tells a bit of the story about how, I scaled my businesses, two of my business to $1 million in revenue, and how you can do it too. And then this is what to expect. So it is a longer piece, but it's about 90 seconds to row. And then we say, look, type the word sprint in the comments below, and then people will work on it, right? And you can see here that we're tagging people into this, right? So this is us tagging. There's tons and tons of comments in there. So you can see that. By the way, I'm going to just copy and paste this into the chat, so you can keep this for another time if you want to. Good stuff. And then the second piece here is then the day two post, right? So, oh crikey, I wish I didn't say see all the comments. So this is an example of the day two post here, which is basically saying, hey, here's the free book you asked for. So click here, download it. And also here's the little mini webinar you can watch by clicking here. And of course, then if someone clicks on that mini webinar, it takes them to our $1 million audience shift training. Great. And then of course, at the bottom of the audience shift training, they get to apply for a strategy session. And so therefore the strategy session, the meeting is booked, and you go from awareness to consider to convert through that. Cool. Look, the final thing to say here, and whenever you're looking at this sort of stuff, it's so important. What gets measured genuinely gets improved. So these are our stats. This is the stuff that we do, and we measured, we target how many group members we want, how many active members, new group posts, comments, reactions, and we target that at the beginning of the year, and we work through that. So we drink our own Kool-Aid on this, and you should do. What gets measured gets improved. And all of our clients, we ask them to measure their activity. And so, of course, they start to want everything to go green, not red, against target. So that's the importance of this. Right. So what would your group be about? I'm going to throw it into the room and just ask a couple of people to think, well, what would your group be about? So who wants to kick off? Morris.
People who have problems with their marketing was what it would be about.
I like it. Now, I always say whenever you're trying to do stuff, go positive, not negative. So if I've got to join a group to say I've got problems with my marketing, I'm confessing to a problem.
Yep.
Whereas if you want to join a group to say, how to get twice the return from half the marketing budget, then I'm like, yeah, I'd quite like to know that. And therefore I'd join that group for that. So that could be quite a good positive spin on how you'd work it. Yeah.
I might call it sorting your marketing.
Yeah, well, that could be, maximizing, sorting, whatever it is. Yeah, that could be your group. Awesome. Love it. Kieran.
Right, Richard. So I've just started out with marketing, but I figured in my local community, from going around asking, it's about how to generate adverts and get them out there without having the kind of Facebook fees. So doing a local generation program, which I found is through joining the public local groups, advertising on Mondays, and trying to boost local reach as opposed to national or district reach.
Fantastic. So that would be your group would be teaching people that, or that's your current tactic?
It'd be focused on trying to kind of elevate, how companies can do that without having the extended fees of the Facebook advertising, I suppose. Yeah.
So it's basically Facebook local, isn't it? So how to get local sales using free, Facebook tools, it's that, call it that, local leads, how to get local leads on Facebook could be the group, that is a great group. It's an information. I would join that to get that pain You show me some cool stuff, and then I'll go and buy your premium thing or your done for you thing. So work. Cool. I can see there's a couple other hands up here. So before I do, this is the type of stuff that I help people to do. And actually I give the opportunity for people in this room to spend a bit of further time with me to be able to help them to actually get these type of results. So the stuff that we do at the $1 Million Sprint is we really help clients to be able to get leads, get sales, to be able to scale their business. We do a 12-month accelerator for people that are interested in getting to $1 million in revenue or close to the $1 million in revenue. Some of our clients just want to get to 20K per month, 30K per month in revenue. And that's the help that we help them with. Here's some great wins from clients that we work with who are posting sales that they're making as part of our accelerator. Now, the journey starts, and it's completely no obligation, but the journey starts with a strategy session where we talk about what would your group be? What would your lead generation strategy be? And this is the agenda for our strategy session, completely complimentary for people on this call. Part one is where we talk about where are you now? Where's your business? What you're trying to do? And then part two is where would you like to be in 12 months' time? Even if you're just starting out, this is the type of conversation that we help, and we show you that roadmap on how you can get to where you are now and where you can get to do in 12 months' time. And therefore, what campaign should you be running to make that growth happens? What process will get you there? What team will help you to get there is what we cover in part two. And then in part three, is there a way that perhaps me and my team at $1 Million Sprint can actually help you to do that? But again, that's just open the door if it's there. If it's not, you'll take away a ton of value. We do this once a week. So there's one opportunity each week to be able to do it. And it's always Wednesdays. And I'll show you here. If you look at our website here, you go onto this, it says free strategy session here. And you just click on that button here and you can reserve your spot for this free strategy session. There's some more successes there. But actually this is Suzanne Dibble. She did a launch and got over 100, and it's actually ended up to be 123K in a weekend on one of her launches. Amazing. She's a small business legal academy. And so you click on this link here and it takes you to the link. You can see here it's every Wednesday. Let me just chuck that into the chat for you guys. Here we go. So I'm going to chuck this into the chat there and click on that now and just jump onto this page and book it. There are limited seats on each one of these sessions. So you click on there, 12:30. So each one is a 12:30 on a Wednesday. There's still some spaces here for the 4th of May one. Only a few though. So jump on that now and rock on it. So looking forward to seeing you guys on there. So in the chat now. If you're, by the way, if you're watching on replay, you'll see it just below the video in one of the comments on YouTube. Cool. Right. Looking forward to seeing you guys in that strategy session. But we still got time for questions because we've got 10 minutes to go. So let's loop back to John and say, John, what type of group are you looking to do or thinking of doing?
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly the point I was making. Obviously, what I was working down the direction of going sort of antidepressant coaching and getting people off antidepressants, but I decided against that for a number of reasons. So now I'm looking more at like helping people to like enjoy and love their life again. So people who used to have fun and now struggling with depression, business owners and that sort of thing, and life is not going the way they want it to go. So I'm really struggling with like how to condense that into a simple, here's what my group's doing. My group is there to sort of give people support and love and hope and techniques and stuff to help them move forward in their life. So yeah, just thought you might have any ideas. Yeah,
so this is really interesting. Actually, it's quite a nice one for us to tackle because it's clearly you don't want to publicly. I'm going to paraphrase. Most people don't want to publicly put their hand up and step into a group that says, I'm struggling with any type of mental illness.
Yeah.
So if it is depression, I don't want to step up and stand into that. It's like it's even though it's private, you still feel a little bit vulnerable stepping into it. So what about if it was more around the outcome that you would be able to achieve? So if I worked with you over, a 12-month period, how would I feel at the end of that 12 months? Tell me, John.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm kind of struggling, is how to describe that really. But I would say you feel like you're in control of your emotions, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. That's the line I use often. Like better relationships, better sleep. You'll be enjoying your life more. that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what about something along the lines of in control of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions? What about actually just calling that in control of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions? And then just get people to join a group and just say, look, we got a group here about really optimizing, the control you have about your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We do a fantastic kind of, weekly session where we talk about actually, how to master that skill, and boom, and so it allows people to kind of step into that, to feel like they're actually on that journey to perfect it. Now, people buy the mastery of something when they're struggling with even getting the basics of something, because we feel that, a couple of quick steps help us to get the basics. And usually the basics is the hardest piece, but that's how you promote the Facebook group. Positive is the thing that you've got to come out with this. It's like buying, you buy the result and then you justify with the journey to get there. And so that's how you'd approach that.
Yeah, I think I was probably struggling with what actually is a positive result, and just taking control of your thoughts, feelings, emotions is probably good enough, really. And and then the techniques are things like meditation and mindfulness and all that kind of stuff that you'll study along the way each week.
The technique. So think about this: the $1 million sprint. I help people get to $1 million revenue. The techniques are Facebook ads, Facebook groups, LinkedIn automation, having better sales conversations. Those are the building blocks to get to $1 million in revenue. And the way you do that is my system and my journey, but it's all about the $1 million sprint, because that's actually the end result. That's the promise that we want to, that's the promise that we give. We want to get people to the $1 million Hall of Fame, right? And so you want to get people to better thoughts, feelings, and more control over their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And so that's why I'd go on a journey with you. Love it. Good stuff. All right, back into the room. Who else is thinking about this, or any questions about the system that I just showed you around this groups piece? Thoughts, gang? Mia?
In the group name, do you actually, I know you haven't added who your target audience is. Would you say to add your target audience? Because if you're not dealing with everybody, do you not want to say that in the group title? Great
shout. So you have other assets that you can do. So if we go back to my group, crikey, it's a long route. Oh, that's just the hashtag. Let's press back. And here, and you see here, it was so close. You can see my header, $1 million sprint, how to scale your service business to 7 figures and beyond.
Okay.
And so when we first launched, we actually had it as $1 million sprint house service, and that was a bit long. So that the headings there, we then in the 3 questions say, would you, we help service business go, would you like us to give you more information, yes or no? And so again, it helps you to kind of understand you got the right target audience. The final thing to say also on this is that you have this wonderful, where's my PowerPoint presentation? Who's scrunching stuff up? I'm just gonna, okay, there you go. Was that you, Alex? Scrunching away. No, you also get in here, gang, is the ability to go and actually look at all this lovely information here. So you can look at their, employed, what they do, you can click on them, you can actually qualify. So you could ask one of those questions, one of these 3 questions you could ask, are you a service sector business? Or I say, how is your service sector business doing? And I say, we help service businesses to scale to $1 million in revenue. And so by, it's seeding, plus we do the due diligence before we then press the button to say, yes, join. So it is a case of vetting through, but I would say for many of you, if you can make it very obvious, it is so much easier to work it through that way. Cool. Right, Leslie, over to you. And then Morris, and then Janice.
Hi, Richard. Oh,
hello.
I haven't spoken to anyone yet this morning. It's not really working.
Well, I feel privileged.
Quick question about starting a group up. I started a group, and of course it looks so pathetic to begin with because there's nobody there. And so when you're inviting people and they're coming in, how do you get over that hump of they kind of walk in and it's like, Oh, I thought this was a group and it's actually just an empty space. Any tips about how to get over that?
Absolutely wonderful question. Thank you. So what you would do is launch it. So you do a launch. Oh, crikey. It's when you do a screenshot on your screen and it looks like it's actually the right thing. So what you do is you hold people in the waiting room. So you say, well, I'm going to do a two-week build up, right? And so you're sending out these DMs, and building. And what you can maybe start it off. A lot of things are good. If you haven't seen my 5-day challenge video that we did last week, do check that one out. In fact, actually, I'll link it into the chat for you here. It's on YouTube. And it talks about setting up a 5-day challenge, which you would use a pop-up Facebook group to be able to do. Actually, that could be a great way to launch a group, and then not actually, I tell people to pop it down again afterwards. But here you go, how to run a 5-day challenge. So you could set up your group as a 5-day challenge to start off with, and then keep it running. Here, it's in the link there. Flora, can we make sure that we link below on the replay to that 5-day challenge video as well, please? So when you're when you're thinking about doing that, Leslie, you would do this 5-day challenge. You'd ramp people up, and then hold them in the waiting room. So when in that kind of membership request until Monday, day 1 of the challenge. And actually, no, tell a lie, complete lie. You're going to hold them till Friday. And on Friday, if you follow the strategy that we have, you invite them into the group, you open the group up, you then say, hey, introduce yourselves, get to know each other. The buzz and the conversation starts, and you then still have another 2 days to keep on adding people Saturday and Sunday after that Friday. And then you say to people, hey, why don't you invite other people to join this 5-day challenge as well? So then the group starts inviting other people to join it, and it becomes a nice bubble of activity. And then on Monday, day 1, you do the first day of the challenge, and then 5-day challenge, and then you've got a fantastic group that's engaged afterwards, and you would have got strategy sessions. So that's the kind of really cool marketeer, if you've got all the time in the world, strategy for doing it, and it will give you leads and sales off the back of that, guaranteed. But if you don't want to do the 5-day challenge, just simply do exactly the same thing. Just build up to say, hey, on Friday, we are going to be launching this group, and this group is about helping and I'm going to do my first live within the group on Friday, and I'm going to invite you all in. Actually, I would say I'm going to invite you all in on Thursday to say hello. We're going to do the live on Friday. And so that's why they're kind of treading water in that group. Does that make sense?
Yes, brilliant. Thank
cool.
you.
That's a really good example, by the way, gang, of the type of things that I talk about on that strategy session, the sort of stuff that we do this afternoon, with the type of tactics. We take an idea and we go for it. So I just want to draw you back. I won't talk about it again, but I'm just going to re-put that link into the chat there. Thank you, by the way, because my phone has buzzed to say that people have booked into that. So it's there. Do jump onto that strategy session. I'd love to see you for today or next week on there. Cool. All right. So back into the room. I'm sticking around, by the way. It's 2:15. So if you're dashing, fantastic to see you there. Really, really cool. Mia said in the chat there she's booked in for today, so thank you for that. Fantastic to see you today. It's 2:15, so if you are shooting off for the 45 minutes, brilliant to see you. See you next week, or see you on a strategy session. Well, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to stick around to about 5:02. So carry on answering all these lovely questions. So Morris, over to you, my friend.
Partially an observation. I'm a great fan of tribes and building them, and it's something you do extremely well. The question is, how do you get people into your tribe and to get the ethos and purpose and that sense of belonging? I mean, I'm thinking about Harley Davidson guys having tattoos of the brand. How do you generate that kind of tribe around you? Because this is what you're talking about, is it not? Yeah, it is. I'm not sure I'm worried about anybody getting my name on their arm tattooed though, but actually, strangely enough, my good friend Jason Greystone, he actually, one of his clients has a tattoo of his Tears of Freedom program on her arm. That's amazing how well that's had. Really good buddy of mine. So anyway, yeah, so
So it can happen, right? The point is that the only way I feel personally that you can actually create any sort of following and have the right to show any sort of following is by giving tons of value and not expect anything in return. And open the door for people if they do want to take more, to go on a journey with you, but just to give, keep on showing up. A weekly moment is a rhythmic way of showing up consistently in your audience and to attract more people in there, to maintain a relationship with people en masse. And that's the way to do it. It's not just an event like this, but also the recordings of the events and the catch-up viewers, etc., is the way that you create that audience. It's the best way. Look, I created a big audience when I did the TV stuff. When I was on The Apprentice, I had loads of followers that came and see it, but they were just there because they thought I was an idiot on a TV show getting fired by Lord Sugar. They weren't there because I was giving them any value apart from maybe a couple of laughs. So that's a crap audience. And so that audience wasn't going to go on and go buy whatever it was, and there was no trust there. It was more a, fake kind of celebrity, Z-list type audience. So there is definitely two types of audience, and I've had both of those audiences. And the one that I enjoy far more is this, which is real people that we can help and give real tactics to that get results from what you say. That's the type of audience that stick around, and that's the type of audience that tell other people, and that's the barometer of a good audience. Have they told other people about coming along to this stuff? That's the important part. So I know you guys have, and I do appreciate that. So thank you for showing up. So that's how you do it, Maurice. Just consistency and value, give and not expect in return.
Thank you. And as a matter of interest, yes, I do guide people towards what you do.
No,
because I think it has value. Easy.
Thank you, and I do appreciate it. I know others do as well. So I genuinely do appreciate it, because that's a recommendation. Doesn't matter, and you're a marketing man as well, Maurice. It doesn't matter how clever your strategy can be. There's nothing better than a word of mouth referral. That's just the best form of marketing. And so everything you do should hopefully yield those if you do it right. Love it. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. So was it Steve or Janice first? Should we gentlemanly?
Janice first.
There you go. Steve's a gentleman. There you go. Good man. Thank you. Janice, over to you.
Okay. Hi, Richard. Well, I started the group thanks to you and thanks to your thesis. I was reading through it anyway. I started the group some time ago. And my thing is that with the questions, sometimes I can't get, a few people answer the questions and some don't. Yep. Is there a way to make it to set it up that they must answer the questions? Because I can't seem to find that.
No, there's not. So you can't force people to answer the questions, but what you can say is, you can say, if you don't answer the questions, we don't let you in the group. But I don't do that, because I just think, well, look, I can do my due diligence by clicking on them and seeing, how long they've been on Facebook, what do they do, look at their profile. But also I go, well, look, who am I to have to force someone to give me that information? If I've got a great group full of stuff that helps people, awesome. I'll just invite people into there, and at some time they might turn up on one of these events. And of course, to get into this room, you guys had to register on the Zoom, right? Which meant that then you get the information that way. Or if someone goes and watches that extra bit of value or requests, who wants the ebook, they've got to still give the email to get the ebook, right? And so you'll get them in the end, right? And it's just, it might not be the right time. And also, if you've ever tried to join a group, sometimes you just go and say, I'd like to join. And if you forget to fill in the questions, or you just get distracted by some cat video on YouTube or whatever it is, we've all been there. So the point is, you still would have requested to join there. And so, you yourself would have probably not answered those questions by accident for doing it. So don't worry, chill. You'll get them in the end. No worries. Right. As I say, I'm going to finish about 5-2, but last but not least, Steve, over to you.
Yeah, just a quick one. You mentioned about personal profiles. When you're running the group, so you're running it with a personal profile, or are you running with a business page profile?
You can do both. You've got to set it up as a personal profile, but then afterwards you can do both. So if I show you here on our Facebook group, you'll be able to see, if I go back to here, I can then use this button here, which has a drop down. And so I can choose to interact as my page, $1 Million Sprint. I can also choose to interact as my page, Richard Woods. And I have a Richard Woods page because I then run ads from that. That's we talk about that on a different one, but it means that I can run ads as my name as opposed to there. So those are 2 pages, and that's my profile. So if I wanted to, I'd just flick that button, and then I can start commenting, liking stuff, all the rest of it through doing that.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the best thing to do. Now, if you're worried about actually having to, use your personal profile, you shouldn't do, really, because if you just wanted to set up the group as you and then have the page, you could just make the page the one thing that you're interacting with. But remember, people interact with people, and we have this. Actually, Richard Parks is on this call. So Richard Parks was the first person that came up with the expression CLAM, which is comment, like, add, manage. And ever since then, I've been dining out on that, Rich, by the way, because I think it's great. Really easy to remember, very weird.
I'll expect the check in the post.
Yeah, cheers, Parksy. Yeah, you should have trademarked it. So it's CLAM. So comment, like, add, manage. So actually, you can't do that if you're a page, because you can comment back on someone's comment, you can like their comment, you can't add them as a friend. And that's where you need to use profile. And then you can't message someone as a page unless they've messaged you. So if you're a page and someone's messaged you, then you can message them back. If you are a profile and someone's actually messaged you, so if someone hasn't messaged you, but if you are a profile, you can add them as a friend and then message them. So it allows you to take the advantage as opposed to having to wait for them to talk to you, right? So that's what we do. Cool. Well, look, thank you so much. Flora, if I could just get you just to scan the chat, if there's any other questions from anybody else, if you could just take a copy of those, and we will try and get back to you personally with those other questions. But if not, look, guys, we'll see you either on a strategy session or live at 9 next Wednesday at one of these marketing roundtables. Big love, and I will see you on the flip side. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for your time. Bye.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.